Joining me now is GMA Life and Family contributor Lee Woodruff via Skype. Hi, Lee.
Hey, Juju.
And I love that all you have to do is sit up in bed from vacation and join us on today's topic.
And plus, I just sent all my kids off skiing with my husband, so how great is that?
That's perfect. It's apropos of our topic today, which is danger phobic. Are we raising a generation of danger phobic kids? Lee, would you like to weigh in on this?
I think there's a big difference between dangerous and reckless. And I think some danger is good because that's how kids learn. When the child puts their hand on top of the oven and you've told them hot, hot, hot 3 times, and finally they touch hot and they get hot, I think those are really good boundaries.
Well, let's bring Sarah Mazes in. She's a blogger of Mommy Light, and she is joining us to talk about this whole sort of idea of whether or not we're raising danger phobic children. Sarah, what do you think?
Hi, Juju. I agree. I think that we are raising a generation of danger-phobic kids. I see it in myself. I see myself get very nervous. The pool is my one major phobic area, and sometimes I actually wonder if it's because we are so inundated with media, so much more than our parents were. My parents would have walked away from me at the pool when I was a kid. They would have come back after lunchtime and said, you know, we'll see you later.
As a journalist, I plead guilty. And imagine, my husband and I are both journalists. So, you know, in our minds is ringing the refrain, and suddenly tragedy struck. You know, so
we know a story about that.
We vacillate between being hyper cautious and being, in my case, a bit laissez-faire. But you actually have an acronym for danger phobia.
I do. I call it ASM. I believe in the art of supervised maiming.
Right.
I think that it's important to give our kids a little bit of a supervised and a controlled environment where they can test out things that could potentially hurt them. I'm not saying you should hand them a sharp knife and have them do target practice on their brother or sister. I'm just saying that I really think that if I can be around while my daughter's cutting a bagel, if I am in the house while my kids are doing somersaults on the sofa, I can be around to help defer any major issue.
Right. There's a parenting concept known as benign neglect, just as your parents were saying, bye, see you later, have fun at the pool. Lee, let me bring you back in here, because you've actually kind of tested those boundaries and let your kids do a few dangerous things past summer.
You know, I do. In fact, I let my kids go to the pool with their older sister, and they both didn't realize the depth. They both scratched their faces here today at the pool. And so we had a big talk. It was a chance to really have a conversation and say, never, never dive into a pool before you understand the depth.
Let's talk to anonymous mom from San Francisco. She has a 5-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl. You actually let your kids hammer nails and work with sharp instruments.
My 5-year-old loves to help his dad work on the house, and he can hammer nails into the wall. He can use the power drill. He also loves to do fire, which is something that we explored when we were visiting some family in South Carolina, and they had a big fire pit, and we sat around the fire every night, and he would stick sticks in the fire. But his older cousin was a Cub Scout leader, and so we gave him a lesson on how to be safe with fire, and it was just a really good learning experience. And so now I feel like he knows how to handle fire safely.
Have you ever been criticized for allowing your kids to do dangerous things?
Yes, I had a friend once who was shocked when she saw my 6-year-old cutting cherry tomatoes with a sharp knife, a knife that could do damage if you slip. But my daughter absolutely loves to cook. She helps me cook dinner most nights, and she really wanted to try slicing things with a knife, and we gave it a go and taught her how to do it, and she's fine.
Sarah, let me bring you back in for Mommy Light wisdom. Why is it, do you think, that parents need to lighten up on some of these dangers?
I think parents need to lighten up on these dangers because I think that we are in danger of raising kids who are so scared to do anything, to try anything. Even worse, I think something Lee was saying, if your children don't have any idea of what it is they're doing, I think they're more likely to get more hurt when you're not around. If they don't understand what it's like to hold a knife, You can't explain that to your child. You can't explain what it feels like to get cut, but you can allow your child to touch the tip of a knife, to understand what it feels like to cut through a tomato. I'd rather be there for that and have my kid understand the danger of it, and not have them be afraid to do these things and to explore life and to take their bodies out into the world and try new things.
Okay, but at the same time, I hate to call you out on the carpet, Sarah, but I know that you have a little phobia of choking, and that you go back and forth in the pendulum just like I do.
You called me out on my choking phobia. I do. I have a major phobia of choking. It actually is tied to my daughter. My oldest daughter is autistic, and my excuse for why I'm choking phobic of my twins, I have no excuse other than my oldest daughter had motor skill issues and just choked on everything. I was constantly performing the Heimlich on her and tipping her over and hitting her on the back. And it made me so nervous that by the time my twins were born, I just said, no sucking candies, none of this. And again, also in the media, you read, I remember reading a story in the Post.
Here, because I think that's a great example. And I think our phobias, like Juju, you with the airbag and choking. And I think that when I find myself bumping up against my own personal phobias, and I have them too, I'm afraid my kids are going to fall. And I'm a huge head injury person. Like anytime my husband just opened the door here in the hotel and hit my daughter, and I'm petrified of that. But what I like to do, just so I don't raise, chickens, is say to them, this is kind of mommy's hang up, and here's why. It's because I have met so many people who've had head injuries, and so I'm scared because of this. And if they can understand that my phobia comes from a real place, then maybe it won't become this thing that rules their lives.
Right. I think it's always no with an explanation.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no with an explanation. Listen, guys, so much. Thank you, Sarah Mazes of Mommy Light, for joining us, as well as Anonymous Mom from San Francisco.
My memory used to be fantastic.
I want my life back. I just need a break for a minute.